Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, you'll find some DIYs and some crafting, usually on the kind of spooky, witchy, gothy decor side, but not all the time. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, hit that subscribe button down there. Hit that bell to get updated on Wednesdays and Saturdays when videos are posted. Today's cold. The snow might be gone, but it's still winter. And what better thing to do in winter than build a snowman? But I don't have any more snow, and I didn't want to build a guy just to let him melt and die. So I set out on a winter mixed media adventure of building a snowman craft as decoration for my home. If you want to see how that turned out, stick around and I'll see you again at the end. First, my apologies here. I lost the video for when I first started painting this blue. So we're just gonna have to pick it up from this point. I have two different colors of blue on here. I have a midnight blue and a smoky blue, and they just kind of blended together a little bit. And I wanted that kind of sweeping night sky look, so I left my brush strokes in there and it brought some of that white in the background there, and that's going to kind of look like a little snowy night. And then I'm just going to paint the bottom white just to give it a good seal over the whole entire canvas. And I'm not going to frame this or anything, so I am painting the sides as well, so that it looks a little bit more finished. Now I'm going to put some glitter glue. This is iridescent glitter glue, and so it has a shimmery shine to it. So it just kind of sparkles when you look at it in the right way, kind of like snow. I'm going to use this air dry clay and sculpt part of the pieces that you would put onto your snowman. So make some little coal pieces and a little carrot nose, and just like playing with Play-Doh when you were a kid. Thank goodness I did that. And I want a crooked nose. I don't want it to just like a straight carrot, but look like it hit maybe a rock when it was growing. Kind of grew around it a little bit. And so I have some more circular kind of pieces of coal that I'm going to use for the eyes, and then I have some kind of flatter pieces that I'm going to use for kind of the body buttons. I don't know. And then some little tiny pieces I'm going to use for the mouth. I have some styrofoam balls here that two of them, they were full balls. The two smaller ones were full balls. So I cut them in half. But I did that some time ago, so I don't have any footage of that for you. But the larger bottom piece, I actually bought in the half. And so I think the smaller pieces might come in the half already as well, but I just had the foam balls, so I cut them in half. But however you want to do it, do it. Or don't use foam balls, use something else. I don't know. What do you have? Make it work. So I'm just using my box knife to kind of shave down the styrofoam so that it fits onto the other piece of styrofoam, kind of lays right against it, and looks like a snowman would, where the weight of one ball of snow kind of pushes down in order to set on the other ball of snow. And so I'm just using tacky glue here and just kind of gluing my pieces to each other. And I used some tape to get it kind of, I wanted to be secure. That wasn't working too well, so then I used toothpicks to kind of connect the foam together and allow the tacky glue to dry. So I just really shoved those toothpicks down there and then cut them with my little jewelry snipper tool. Here I am just putting a toothpick into the carrot nose before it fully dries. That's going to let me secure it really well. Next, I'm going to make the hat. So I have this weird piece of plastic. I don't even have any idea where I got this from. I've had it for so long, and I thought to myself it looked like a hat, so I kept it to make a hat out of sometime. But instead, I'm using it as a form to Mod Podge tissue paper for half of a hat, because I just want it to be one half. So this worked really well. And you could also use maybe like a little tiny cup, you know, like those little rinse after you brush your teeth cups or whatever, would probably work, and then just build out the brim a little bit. I did, it's hard to kind of tell, but I put 3 layers of actually doing the tissue paper. And the first layer, the first time I did it, and that's 3 layers. I let it dry in between. But the first time I actually put probably 2 or 3 layers of tissue paper at that one time. And then I let it dry really well. And then I came back and I just did 1 tissue paper over the whole entire thing. Let it dry and did another tissue paper over the whole entire thing. So each time it's Mod Podge, tissue paper, Mod Podge, dry. Then I have this little strip of red fabric that is left over from my Krampus inspired Creepmas little skull crossbone craft. So I'm using Mod Podge over the whole entire snowman on the face of him now, and then I'm going to paint the carrot nose brown and paint all of the rest of the coal pieces, all the sizes, black. And the reason I did the Mod Podge on the styrofoam before was to seal it really well before we start any kind of painting or anything. Okay, so I'm gonna get all my pieces painted. Now I'm gonna come back with orange and paint it over my carrot nose, because, I mean, obviously carrot isn't brown, you hope. Maybe a little bit when it comes out of the dirt. But we didn't just pull this out of the dirt, we washed it off first, so it needs to be a little bit of orange. So I'm gonna let that dry. I painted it brown first because I didn't want it to be bright orange with the white in the back, this is kind of a bright orange. So I painted the brown first, and then I did a couple of coats of orange there. And I do let this dry in between each time. Like I'm coming back, I'm painting the coal again, letting it dry. Now I'm gonna paint this snowman. I'm gonna put a white coat all over him. So now he's sealed, I did that. I put white all over him, let that dry. Now I'm coming back with Mod Podge, and I'm putting Mod Podge all over it again. So it's going to seal that white on there. And I'm trying to kind of smooth it out. That's the kind of layer of Mod Podge. That was the reason for Mod Podge at this point. Then I come back with white again because it wasn't quite white enough. I know that doesn't make sense because it was already white, but yes, it wasn't quite white enough. I'm going to orange up the carrot a little bit more, and I'm doing a little bit of yellow in it as well to kind of give it some highlights. And I kind of dry brushed the orange on a little bit more than just painted it. Okay, now I'm painting this glitter glue, the same that I did on the canvas, all over the snowman, because again, snow kind of glistens, right, in this light, and that's what this glitter glue is going to do for us. Now I'm gonna use the same tacky glue, and I'm going to glue all of my coal pieces on. For the eyes, they didn't have any kind of circular flat background, so I kind of indented them first, and that made them hold on really well. The nose I glued in, and then I just snipped off the back because toothpick came out the back, and I kind of, set it in a way to the side. And then I used tacky glue to glue all of my pieces on, and I wanted my mouth to be precise, so I marked it with the toothpick prior to starting to glue. I just trimmed the hat a little bit so that it would set a little bit more flush against the back, and glued it on right after I glued on his body buttons. Now I'm going to make the arms, so I'm using just some toothpicks here and my kind of little snipper tools from my jewelry set and some wood glue. And I am just snipped off the ends of a couple of toothpicks at kind of varying different lengths that are not all the same length snipped off. And then I'm going to glue them to the end of a different toothpick in a way that it kind of looks like some twigs at the end of a branch, sort of, because I need little tiny branch arms. So I'm going to make that on 2, and I'm going to put a dab of wood glue over where the joints meet as well, and let that dry so that they will be nice and sturdy, because just the wood glue right at the joint was not going to be enough. So just a little dab of wood glue and then let them dry. I come back after they're dry and I'm going to sand off. I have, it's a bead reamer tool, so it's kind of like a little rasp, a little round rasp tool, and then I paint them brown, and I painted them with 3 different colors of brown, and I didn't mix it together so that each kind of color would stand out a little bit. Had like a red dirt, a regular brown, and then a light brown. And I just put those in the arms after they're dry, put tacky glue all over the back, lined him up where I wanted him to be, stuck him down. I hope this snowman has inspired you to get out and craft something. And don't just think you only have to use one medium. I used a canvas, some styrofoam, heck, I used toothpicks on this, and tissue paper. Lots of Mod Podge, some paint, some stickers, some glitter glue, air dry clay. It's all up to you and your imagination. Go out and create something that you love. And don't forget to show us too. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Tell those treasures.